How did you type in Mario Kart into Amazon? Huh?
It's for my shirt.
You copied your shirt?
Yeah.
Oh, and you almost bought something?
Yeah, and I almost bought something.
Well, that's close.
Honestly, I cannot believe a 4-year-old's reading potential. Because when I first started, I had extremely low expectations. We were being consistent, and I didn't think much of it, but after a while, I just couldn't believe how much my son could possibly read. So imagine if someone had more skills with their teaching, how far their kids could go. So I want to share with you the expert tips that I followed and my experience so it can be helpful for you. My son is 4, he's turning 5 next month, and he's comfortably reading level 2 early reader books.
Okay, what's this book called?
Wake up, son.
Very good.
Wake up, son.
Very good.
One night in the
Middle.
of the night,
Flea.
we with a dog on his
Ear. Yeah.
Dog woke up.
Very good. Very good.
Woof, woof, said dog. It must be no time. Get you up. Get up.
It must be time to get up. Yes. What does the next page say?
Pig woke up too. Oink, oink, said Pig. Be wet.
Be quiet.
It is time to get up, said Dog. No, it is not, said Pig. The sun is not up.
Probably even level 3, but we're trying to get a solid foundation in level 2 before we move on. That's how I go. And he is also very curious about his surroundings. He's reading signs everywhere, like at the grocery store, the labels, that sort of thing. So it all started when he was just turning 3, so maybe a month before he turned 3. If you want to know the full details on how I taught my son to read at 3 years old, I have a video on that. We started the Children Learning Reading program, and that was an amazing program. It has excellent reviews, and it's super effective. He learned really quickly, and it really surprised me because I didn't think he was gonna know how to read. And like I said, I wasn't being pushy. I was just trying to follow this program, and it magically worked. Well, it wasn't magical. It was some work. And how it works is like you teach a letter every few days. You change the letters. There's games that you do, and eventually the kid, with a consistency, learns the letters, the sound of the letters, and then they learn to read simple words, 2-letter words, 3-letter words. They're called CVC, consonant, vowel, consonant words. And while we were doing this program, by the way, there were like these toys, the one with the laptop, so that the kid knows the sound of the letter. I think that was actually helpful too. So we did that. So the games and that program and the toys, they were helpful, and the consistency. And then afterwards, we moved on to something called Bob books. These are called Bob books. You see them in a set like this. It has 1 word, 2 words at most on each page. And then eventually it gets harder and harder. And kids love this because it really builds their confidence. They get the idea that, hey, I can read a book.
Flip got it. Sam hid a hat.
Good, good, good.
Flip got it. Dot hid a fox in a box.
And so we got this set. I got the other sets. And by the way, I'm not here to waste money because or even spend money. I'm trying to save. So I always make sure that if the library has it, I borrow it. And if they don't, I buy it. That's how it goes. After all the Bob books, I said to myself, well, what are we going to do after? Because these early reader books are quite challenging. So I found another early reader set. It's kind of like a copy of Bob books. They kind of merchandised it out with their kids' favorite TV characters. So there's one for Spider-Man, Batman, I think. So these early reader sets, this is Paw Patrol. This is actually kind of harder. So we kind of was a little stressed out with this, but with practice, it helps. After that, then he was ready for the early reader books. So what I did was I went online. I'm a professional library borrower, by the way. I go online and I know exactly how to get all the books that I need. This is our library shelf all dedicated to library books. These are your typical children's books, but these are early reader books. And I get a lot because I want my kids to have options. Options are really good for kids. I can't stress that enough. And the level 1 books, I'll tell you which one I got. These ones I prefer because they're consistent and there's like a lot of them. This Random House, they're called Step Into Reading. This is good. These are the level 2 readings, the Step Into Reading series from Random House. These are the good ones. I really like these because there are so many at the library and we have a lot of options. And because sometimes level 2 books from other companies, like this is from Penguin, and their level 2 is slightly easier, I find. So I mean, we'll read them now and then, but I like the consistency with the levels. So we are going with Random House. So you just type in step 1 Random House on the library online system, and I totally rated like maybe 20 at a time. So when my kid's reading, he gets to choose which one he likes to read. And then we did this for a while, and then he moved on to now level 2 we're doing right now, and he's quite comfortable with it. Very little to no help. There's of course like the weird words that we're practicing sounding out, but the other words, like, you know, the words that you typically see, he has a pretty good handle on. And I'm so surprised sometimes he remembers like words from like long time ago, he still remembers them. So the important thing is to be consistent, and we do this like at least 4 times a week. And that, I think, was the key to him being able to read so comfortably today. By the way, being a literate person doesn't mean you know how to just read words. You have to know about grammar, you need to know about storyline, that sort of stuff. So that's why I got this language arts book I found at the local bookstore. This is the one I found. It's called Spectrum Language Arts. Like, I don't have anything special to say about it. It was just something that I found at the local bookstore, Barnes & Noble's. And it talks about grammar, you know, punctuation, that sort of stuff. And I think this was helpful. We did 2 pages a day, and he's already finished. This is the kindergarten level. And I'm not in a rush to get to grade 1 because I'll be honest, my son's handwriting isn't strong right now. He just doesn't have that muscles or the dexterity. I guess we'll practice the handwriting for now. Here are the habits and tips that I think are helpful to get kids reading. The first tip is consistency. I know we hear this all the time when we hear success stories, but really it's true. So we did this like 4 times a week, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes most. So it's just like little gentle pushes. It's not being pushy, gentle encouragement, I would rather say. And always having prizes at the end, which leads me to my next tip. Some people say bribery, but I say more like prizes. And you see me mention this in my previous videos about teaching, and honestly, it does help. I mean, kids are always like, I'm not always, but you know, kids are eating junk food and watching TV almost daily, so why not make that a prize? After we do our little reading session, I say please focus, because there's like a prize after. You can watch TV for 30 minutes. Literally, I use a timer because it's so easy for kids to just end up watching like the whole day. So use a timer. You can watch anything you want. You can play whatever you want on the iPad. Sometimes you can change it up. You can buy these cool seasonal candy chocolates that they have at the store, and you'll say, hey, you get 1 or 2 of these. Or a cookie. Right now they have Mario themed Oreo cookies my son is crazy for, so I say you have one of those. I don't know why kids think they're so special. I mean, they're just Oreo cookies, or it's just the branding. Anyways, it's very special for kids, so you can use that to your advantage. So I really emphasize on the prizes. It really gets kids motivated. Read to your kids. You hear this advice all the time, so I'm gonna add something more to that, because in this day and age, anyone can publish a book, and there's a lot of garbage, let's be honest. It's really sad. Like, bad illustration, I've seen grammar mistakes, they don't know really how, like, the concept of how to write a story. So I'm gonna tell you to read good quality books to your kids. Libraries typically do a good job curating good quality books. I like to support the independent publishers, but you know, the traditional ones like Random House and Disney can be really good too, so I highly recommend that. Before my son reads a book, sometimes what I do is I will read that book the day before to him. So That way he can recall the words the next day. And I always put my finger under each word, reading clearly, slowly, so that way he can associate the word to what I'm saying. And honestly, I think that's really helpful. Also, another thing we do just before he reads a book, I have something called warm-up words. I did that for a while, and what I did is I go through the book, and if I see like some challenging words, I would write them all out like on a page, and I would have him try to read out the words first. And then that way when he's reading the book, it flows better, because like no one likes to read a book and they're like kind of stuck on the word and then you forget what the book is about. I think that's also helpful. And finally, this is a tip that you'll hear other people say is beneficial, having your own library. And honestly, I was kind of against this because I don't really believe in spending too much money, but my husband really thought that having your own library is helpful, so he went out and bought like a lot of books. I actually see a lot of books behind me on my bookshelf, but a lot of them are actually in French, and I got them from used bookstores. I think maybe even learning another language is also helpful. We spend some time learning French too during the day. So I hope that these tips were helpful for you when you want your kids to read. In conclusion, if you are consistent, you follow a good quality reading program, you have a positive learning environment, your kids will reach their potential, their reading potential in no time. And I hope that these tips were helpful for you. If you have any questions or ideas you'd like to share, please comment below. I'd like to connect with parents with a similar mindset. Thank you for watching and have a great day.